Content warning, y'all. We have lots of fun making this podcast, but remember, we watch a lot of R-rated films, use language that reflects that, and joke about heavy topics to create levity around these themes. If that doesn't feel safe or could be triggering, please take care of yourself. We want you to have fun listening too. This also means we might not be suitable for children. Oh yeah, and we spoil the end of all the movies we pod about. Thanks for listening.
Yankees Annual
DocOctShockRocktober. Holler-ween.
Stream along Spook-a-thon.
We can start over if you'd like.
Welcome to Z and Keith Watch the Movie.
Yeah.
I'm Z.
And I'm Squeef.
And over here is a movie.
That we watched.
We have a Instagram.
Yeah. It is Instagram.
Queef over there does a lot of really great stuff. It's
Thanks.
one of my favorite things
Aw.
about the podcast is the things you do on there.
Aw. Thank you. I have a lot of
Recommend-
fun. I like surprising you with what I decide to put out
Yeah.
there. And it's one of my favorite things to just be like, oh, by the way, there's a new Instagram post on the pod Instagram.
Yeah.
And then
You do great teasers,
thank you.
and the photo sets for the
Thank
day
you.
of
Thank you.
are always enjoyable.
They're so much fun to do. I like doing the photo sets. Sometimes when movies aren't that visually exciting, they're rough. And you're just like, ugh,
Yeah.
or I'm just like, ugh, I don't know how to pick, you
Yeah.
know, like mostly because it's like, even if like I think the most disappointing is when we reference a specific scene in the episode.
Right.
And then, but like catching a screenshot of it is impossible because there's
Or
like
it
too
just
much
doesn't translate.
movement or like, yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
ugh. So that's
Yeah.
always really heartbreaking.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I enjoy the hunt of that.
Yeah. I like when you're like, oh, I'm never going to get this. And then you hit it at just the right time and it's a perfect image. You're like, fuck
Very
yes.
satisfying.
Yeah. So our Instagram is ZNKpod. Yeah. Instagram.com/ZNKpod.
Great.
Which is, that's pretty much most of our, you've done a great job of branding us in that way.
Me.
Yeah. Because you're the
Except
one
for
that's...
our email address, which doesn't matter because nobody uses it.
But we also have a Patreon, which gets, like, if you subscribe to our Patreon, you get exclusive episodes that are a little shorter so that you don't have to, like, sit through a full hour of us talking.
Our dishonorable
So it's
unmentionables.
a whole, like, a lot more rewarding than just listening.
They're shorter, and we cover a lot of times more contemporary things.
Right.
Things post.
Right.
Things in the 21st century.
Correct.
Which our main episodes do
Don't.
not, for the most part.
You're welcome for me having that contingency. But we also have some behind the scenes stuff. Not as much as I was planning at first. I feel like once the weather cools down and Keith starts putting clothes on, again,
Don't hold your breath.
we might. But it's hard to do behind the scenes footage of, you know, I mean, I guess technically it's Patreon.
Well,
so.
it's also how many times you want to look at us sitting in front of microphones in our living room.
Well, no, I was thinking specifically of like filming stuff.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, you know.
Anyway, more to come.
Yeah. There'll be plenty of stuff. We're going to put stuff on there, but, you know, we're still building our fan base.
Indeed.
But
if
also,
you get on there, that helps us
yeah, it helps us. Yeah.
make this happen.
Yep. Yeah.
Goes towards things like
Internet.
the internet, which we very much need to
Yes.
make this
to
happen.
do everything that we do. Yes. So yeah, all your contributions help us to keep this going, and
Please
we
and
super appreciate it. So with all that said, we're going to talk about a movie that we watched.
Called
The Hidden. Oh.
1987.
Yeah. This was a really, I thought it was going to be good. Like, or I assumed that it was going to be good. I did not know it was going to be this good, though.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, this is going to, because.
Really nice surprise.
Yeah. I mean, I figured it was going to be ridiculous, and it's very ridiculous. But, like, it was just, like, so surprising. I'd never heard of it before. I'd never seen it before.
Well, I heard of it. I got it off of some list.
Oh, right.
Not too long ago, but I hadn't heard of it before that.
Yeah. But, oh, my God. Nuts.
Yeah.
Fucking nuts.
I will say, so we chose this one as part of our spooky movie
Halloween
annual thing.
Uh-huh.
It's less of a horror movie than I sort of anticipated. I would call it more of like a sci-fi thriller almost. It's kind of like a chase the alien genre, a la like Species or I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of like
Any of those.
Yeah.
Starman.
Yeah, sort of. It's like Starman / Species. Like it's like if those two, because there's like an innocent like,
nature to the
yeah.
the
But at the
aliens.
same time, it's like, oh, I'm grabbing my titties because I've never had titties before. You know, that was a great scene. I mean, honestly, like, that's what you do. If you have titties, you just grab them. I grab my tits a lot. I barely have any, and I don't want them. And I'm
same.
still.
Honestly.
I'm constantly handsing my own titties.
Handsing. That'll get you a yellow card. In soccer. Football. Okay. I spent a lot of time. Well, I have a lot of notes.
Oh my God.
And by notes, I mean stats and trivia.
Stats and trivia, okay.
Well, I mean, first of all, it's just like this whole page is just people who's in it and other things they've been in.
Oh, okay.
And then I watched a review or what have you by
Someone?
Good Bad Flicks.
Okay.
Yeah. Where I learned some things about the production. But we've got directed by Jack Sholder.
Which he didn't. If I read if I remember the trivia correctly, he said this is his favorite movie that he's.
Yeah,
directed.
I read that. Yeah, I saw that too.
I don't blame you, dude. This is wild. This had to have been so much fun to make.
Yeah, I can't believe it's not better known.
I know.
Right?
I'm like very shocked that I've never heard of it, and especially because it's fucking Kyle MacLachlin.
Right.
And it's like, fucking, what is this movie? And then, how could I'm so
Life
blown away.
Force was one of the other movies I was thinking of about, like Chase the Aliens. Life Force is bonkers, over the top, ridiculous visual effects, which are great. That's the one Patrick Stewart's in. Oh. I mean, he's not like a main character, but where his head explodes or whatever. I don't really like it. I don't defend it because it's super sexist.
Aw.
I mean, it sounds cool because it's directed by, I think, Toby Hooper, who did
Other movies?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, yeah. We know that's an
Yeah, that was an untroubled production. It's visually very stunning, or very fun and bonkers, but it's about space aliens, and so there's a naked lady that, anyway, but it's a similar, like, chase the evil alien genre. Mm-hmm. Okay. Jack Sholder directed Nightmare on Elm Street 2 before this, which is the gay one.
Yes! Oh my fucking God.
So,
bro.
And this was put out by New Line, which is put out the Elm Street movies. Of course, Wes Craven directed the first one. Mm-hmm. They asked him to direct the second one. He said, "No thanks. The script is too silly." LOL. So Jack Sholder came in. Was invited to take over. He did a movie called Alone in the Dark in 1982, I think. Okay. Which is now on my list of things to see.
Yeah,
which is about some escaped murderers from prison in a blackout.
Oh. Nice. I'm just going to say this, just if you have not seen, like, even if you're not super into horror movies, I get it, but Nightmare on Elm Street 2, I did not realize this until we watched it, and I was like, this movie is fucking gay. And then apparently that it was like an allegory, like it's a whole thing, like highly recommend. Even if you're not into horror or you're like, oh, the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff is so, I'm bored with it. Oh, I know what's going to happen. No. Watch even if you don't watch any of the other ones, it doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
Nightmare on Elm Street 2, watch it.
You
Absolutely.
if you haven't seen the first one, it doesn't matter.
Right, exactly. I mean, if you haven't seen any of the other ones, it doesn't really matter. Like,
well, yes. I mean, you've heard of Freddy Krueger, probably. So,
yeah,
that's plenty.
Yeah, but yeah, for sure, it is a movie. I was like, once I
and intentionally like confirmed like in the last decade, right?
Right.
Like
that was the thing where I was like, I wasn't sure at first because I was like, I don't know about this. And then as I was watching it, I'm like, man, if this is doing what I think it's doing, this is a really fucking good movie. And then it was like, yeah, it's doing what you think it's doing. And I'm like, fuck, this is a good fucking movie. Yeah. Like at first I was like, and then I was like, oh, and then, yeah. So highly recommend. Anyway, I just wanted to interject. Yeah. Interject.
Okay, well, should I go on about credits, or should we dive into a plot synopsis?
I think say who's in it, and then synopsis. Like Kyle MacLachlin's in it. Dadoy.
Yeah, MacLachlin. Besides that, is like just character actors that have been in everything since the 70s, or at least the 80s.
Yeah.
So many of these people were in just like every fucking cop and PI show that I grew up on. Like so many of them are like in Magnum and Simon and Simon and Hunter and all that shit for like one episode, of course.
Right. But still.
Yeah. Anyway, the other main lead is what's his name?
Michael
Nouri.
Yeah, Michael Nouri or something.
Did I not write his fucking name down?
He was in Flashdance. I was like...
Yeah, Michael. Flashdance,
yeah. Yeah. That's what I know him from.
He plays Beck.
Oh my God. That scene at the beginning where his like lieutenant or whatever is just like barking at the other guy and he's like...
Look, Ed, Tom Beck is the best I've got. If I give him to you now, I'll never get him back again. My department will then crumble. Crime will run rampant. The city will fall into ruin. Okay. Rampaging hordes will control the streets, and life as we know it will end.
Hey. The whole city will erupt into chaos. Crime will ring the street. Oh God! Oh, it was so fucking amazing. Please put it.
And I will. And it's right after a litany of. It's right on the heels of just like talking about the crimes the other guy has committed.
He killed 12 people, wounded 23 more, stole 6 cars, most of them Ferraris, robbed 8 banks, 6 supermarkets, 4 jewelry stores, and a candy shop. 6 of the ones he killed, he carved up with a butcher knife. 2 of them were kids. He did all that in 2 weeks. If anybody deserves to go that way, it sure in the hell was him.
And then it's like, Becca's the best thing that ever happened to the world.
This movie was so over the top.
Unsupported by anything
that happens. Any evidence whatsoever, yeah.
Okay,
Chris Mulkey is in it.
Oh, yeah, Chris Mulkey is in the amazing opening sequence.
Yeah, which was really cool. Like, that was, I mean, like, because it opens with, like surveillance footage.
Yeah,
and you're just watching, and you're not, like, you're just watching it, and it just seems like you're just...
It's black and white. Yeah. Meant to look like CCTV of a bank lobby. So it's black and white.
I couldn't tell it was a bank lobby quite at first. I thought it was like a mall, and then it took me a while of like adjusting. Huh. And then I was like, oh, this must be a bank. Like, it really took me a minute to like get my bearings, and then...
Okay.
Yeah, and then I didn't know. I mean, I assumed, because like... I assumed because you... Like, Chris Mulkey comes in, which you don't know it's Chris Mulkey at the time, but someone comes in and you see them just standing there, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna, like, he's gonna do something, you know. And then when he, like, you see the guards and he shoots them.
Well, but hang on.
Oh, sorry.
Just because we have those very by compared to the black and white images, you get these bright green credits.
Yeah. And
also, and then remember that little cutout where like I think Kyle MacLachlan's eyes.
Yeah. I was like, it was so funny because I saw that and it was like the hideaway and like is the name or sorry, the hidden. I'm doing that all because you kept every time we talk about the hidden, you're like, remember hideaway? And so I keep thinking it's anyway. So when the title credits come on for the hidden, what's it like hidden shows like Kyle MacLachlan's eyes like looking around, and I was like, oh, it's in him actually. I thought that was I was like, oh, Kyle MacLachlan's the alien. So I was like geared up, and so it wasn't really a surprise for me at all. Like I felt like that really gave it away, which is funny because in the trivia, like I can't remember what country it is, like Germany or something. Italy.
It's just called The Alien.
The Alien, and they're like, that gives away half the plot. And I'm like, okay, but that's given away like 10 or 15 minutes into the movie. So it doesn't really give anything away. Yeah. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, maybe in 1987, if,
Yeah, I don't know.
there weren't as many movies like this.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, it's not really.
I was like, it's not really that.
I know. Yeah.
But I mean, like, what I'm saying is like, even if that was supposed to be like a surprise when you're going to see the movie, like it's given away pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's also it's just telling me there's an alien in this movie.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you don't know.
Right. And you don't even I don't know about Italian, but in English, that doesn't mean necessarily an extraterrestrial.
Right.
Any hoozle. Who else we got? Fucking Claudia Christian as Brenda Lee Van Buren or whatever the fuck her name is.
Thank you.
The stripper.
Yeah.
Which, oh man, all the trivia about her in this movie.
Good Lord.
Oh, we already did Chris Mulkey, who plays DeVries. He's in First Blood.
Mm-hmm. He's in a lot of shit.
He's in tons of shit. Yeah, he's very familiar if you've watched anything. Yeah. But Twin Peaks, I'm like, oh, fuck, yeah, he was in Twin Peaks. Also, Grimm and Saving Grace.
Oh, my God.
But he gets the cool opening sequence.
Oh, yeah, like man.
Shooting people in the bank and then driving a black Ferrari through downtown LA, balls out while listening to some fucking heavy metal. It's so fun.
The most amazing scene is when he's just like driving through a park.
Yes.
And this lady's like pushing an old man in a wheelchair. And the car's coming and she just like ditches and leaves the guy in the wheelchair. And then the car full on hits him. And oh God, the sequence is so fucking funny.
All you get is
the dude flying through the air. And then the wheelchair like on the ground empty. Oh my God. It was so fucking ridiculous. Yeah. It was so like the reason why like it's so funny because it's so over the fucking top and dedicates so much time to showing you that yes, this guy in a wheelchair absolutely got fucking demolished by this fucking Ferrari. So ridiculous. I just like that the woman's like, bye.
Yeah.
He's on a wheeled fucking, you could easily just like go like, whoop. You could just, even if you don't want to push him out of the way, you could just go, whoop, whoop. Right. There you go. Good Lord. Jeez. Give him a fighting chance. She's literally bails. It's so
apparently funny. For this sequence, there were
265
Ferraris used.
Oh my God.
There was one in good condition. 2 that were beat up for like any time.
Yeah.
For any of the like crashes. And then the one that explodes at the end was just like the body. Yeah. Which is not to mention the Mondial that he steals later, the convertible. Okay. Shit. I mean...
there's so many people in the movie, though. That's the thing. Like, there's just...
Oh, yeah. Clu Gulager plays Flynn. I mean, he's not a big character. But...
Clue.
Yeah. Which Apparently, he was his dad's nickname for him because of some birds, a kind of bird, which were nesting while he was being born. Clue, which is a name of House Martins. Anyway, he was in Elm Street 2, apparently, as a teacher or something.
Oh.
He's in The Last Picture Show, Return of the Living Dead.
Never seen any of those.
But he was also in a bunch of like Western 60s TV shows, most notably The Virginian, I guess. Notably because he's a regular character. Clarence Felder as Masterson, who's one of the cops that the alien inhabits.
Yeah.
He's like the CEO or whatever. He's the one at the beginning that you were, I think, right? Who's like, Beck is the best. If you take Beck.
Yeah.
And, right? Is he? Yeah, he's the one that gets shot in the head.
Yes.
In the jail.
With the fucking...
Also in Elm Street 2.
Oh.
Also in a movie called After Hours, which is a Scorsese joint, which is now on my list because it looks bonkers.
Scorsese joint.
Yeah. I think it's one of his comedies. And he's also in The Last Boy Scout.
Wow.
Larry Cedar, who's just another one of the cops in the background. You'd recognize him. He's one of those people who's been in fucking everything and has done tons of voice work over the years. Mm-hmm. Richard Brooks is Sanchez.
Who you'll know from Law and Order.
Law and Order. Also from The Crow, City of Angels.
Right. I've never seen that one.
Oh, and Shocker, which I saw in high school when I tried to get into horror movies and did not. But I think it's a Wes Craven.
Okay.
A guy gets electrocuted for murder.
I've seen like... Good Lord. I've seen the image for, or the...
Yeah, like the poster or the cover art. William Boyett plays Miller, who's the second alien after DeVries, the second body the alien inhabits. He's a guy that goes to the record store.
Yes. So, when he, when DeVries or whatever, like his wild car chase after he robs the bank or whatever, he gets shot like, I don't know, like a bajillion fucking times. The car gets blown up and then he's in the hospital and they're like, he's not going to make it. He's about to die. So then he wakes up suddenly and pulls a bunch of tubes out of his throat, which I wanted to note is more realistic than Malignant that came out literally this year. I'm like, interesting that a 1987 film has... 87. That's what I said. 1987.
You said 97.
No, I said 80.
Oh, well.
1987 film that...
You said 1897.
Like, he pulls, like, the life support tube out of his... I mean, I'm sure it's just, like, it was just shoved into his mouth. Sure. It wasn't, like, actually down his throat. But, it, shows that it's actually a tube and not just, like, a little thing that you rest on your mouth. What would... Anyway.
You're being nitpicky. That's the only thing wrong with Malignant.
It's true. But then he jumps out of bed. He goes to Miller, and he spits the bug. Who's also in the hospital. Yes, who's also in the hospital, and he's about to get like a heart bypass, so he's like very sick. And he spits, like he opens his mouth, and he's being inhabited by an alien bug or whatever, and it moves from him to the other guy. So the guy that played Miller, like they did this by like stop motion or whatever, the guy that played Miller was so fucking disgusted by this scene that he like walked out in the middle of it and refused to finish watching the movie because he was like so disturbed by how it looked, which is hilarious to me.
I guess for DeVries, like his burned up face, and specifically for the alien transference scene, the makeup or the prop face for DeVries like had some air bladders in it because it needed to be more expressive, so they could fill it up with.
Yeah.
But for Miller's face, they just did a straight latex cast of the William Boyett's face, and so it looked a lot more realistic.
Yeah.
And that's part of what freaked him out.
Yeah.
But also, apparently, it barely survived long enough in the heat of the lighting for them to shoot the scene.
Wow.
Apparently, you can tell if you look real close, the mouth is starting to rip in the corners.
Nice. Yeah, that's wild.
Kevin Yeager and his team were in charge of the visual effects or the makeup stuff.
Something that I think so. A thing that happens in this movie. So I thought I was like, I really appreciated this out of the movie because I feel like this is something that a lot of movies failed to do. So it's basically the whole point is that it's like this alien is just like the alien has no impulse control essentially. If it wants something, it gets it. If someone's in its way, it kills them. Like it just doesn't give a shit. And it doesn't really have, I mean, its motivation is basically just to take anything it wants at all times.
Yeah.
Which I think is a really interesting motive. Like, it's not inherent, like, it's not like it's bad because it's an alien. It's bad because it's bad because of what it's doing. And I think that it definitely kind of makes that clear. But, because like, you know, Kyle MacLachlin, it gets revealed that Kyle MacLachlin is also like an alien, but he's not doing shit. He might steal every now and then, or he might not know, but he's not presented as being necessarily a threat, not in the same way, you know?
Right.
Like, you're not like, oh, all these people are taking over. Like, it's nothing, there's no like weird sort of like othering propaganda that comes in, you know? Because remember in the Tomorrow War, how it was just like, these things came and they just wanted to take,
and
you
all
know?
they want to do is eat.
All they want to do, like, money doesn't matter to them. And you're like, wow, this feels a lot like propaganda, like capitalist propaganda. And like, yeah, it was just like very weird how
it's like a metaphor for xenophobia, only the metaphor is collapsed because it's pure xenophobia.
Right, exactly. So none of that came through in this, but
and he's not.
Well, I have like a point that I want to make. I'm sorry. I want you to hold on to that though. The thing I want to try to, I'm worried it's not going to sound how I want it to sound. So if the point is that this thing is bad because it doesn't have concern for others, it doesn't care. It doesn't even care about the host. Like, it doesn't give a shit.
Right.
It switches bodies. There's like 5 different bodies in this, and it switches like every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Pretty much 20 minutes to half an hour. You do not get like, and I'm like, that makes so much sense.
Right.
Like, because a lot of times in movies like this, they want to keep like have like a stationary bad guy, you know, because so that you know who the enemy is. But I'm like, this made it so much fucking cooler because, and it drives home the point even more where you're just like, oh,
totally.
This thing just takes over. It's, you know, a parasite essentially, you know.
Right.
But it's like, it's not the person, it's what they're doing, and it doesn't matter who it's in. It doesn't matter what it's doing. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, it was just a really, really interesting and something that I feel like doesn't get done very much, where it's not like, it is very much the thing is bad. It's not, and it doesn't care who it inhabits.
Yeah, right.
And like, essentially no one's safe from it. And that's why it's bad, you know? And it was a really, I don't know. There was just something about it that I was like, oh, this is unique. This is very unique.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people,
and they could tell when it was inhabiting someone because of the behavior. Like, its behavior was horrible.
Right. Yeah, and I feel like you said, or hinted at least, like, it's not like evil, like supernaturally evil.
Right.
It's just id driven, right?
Yeah.
It's just pleasure seeking and
and
hedonistic
also,
and just doesn't give a fuck. Which is like people you may have encountered in real life.
Right, exactly.
You know, like
Yeah,
where they
yeah.
just use people and throw them away when they're done and
Right.
don't care about the consequences.
So it's like, it's also like very like, it's alien, but it does a lot of work to make it relatable to like no one recognizes it. No one thinks, oh, this person that's doing this has to be a fucking alien because no one else would act like
seems
this.
like a dick.
They're like, oh, this person's a horrible person who's done a lot of bad things because it's just doing what someone that's really shitty would do.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like your first thought isn't that it's about aliens.
I appreciated that. I mean, it felt because with Mulkey, who's relatively young in this movie, like he's just a guy in his late 20s maybe.
Yeah.
Driving a Ferrari and stealing money and listening to rock and roll.
Yeah.
And then he transfers to William Boyett's body, who's a middle-aged dude just wearing a suit. And his first stop is to a record store to steal cassettes.
Yeah.
And a boombox. And then in their next shot, he's in a diner with his boombox on the table. He's listening to whatever he stole, and he's just eating, shoveling food in his mouth.
Right.
And there's a scene where he's walking down the street with his boombox, and it's great because it kind of highlights that this is like fairly juvenile behavior.
Yeah.
Because it's in an adult body.
You're
right. I was going to say,
oh, sorry.
Just to support what you were saying, that the number of bodies that it inhabits is something I haven't seen in another movie like it.
Mm-hmm.
And you think, I mean, sure, I think part of it is the ease of having one actor for audience recognize, being able to trace who the villain is.
Right.
But also, I think a lot of people would get hung up on, or a lot of people, filmmakers would get hung up on, like, oh, we can't show the transfer. It's too expensive and time-consuming to show the transfer. You only see it once.
Yeah, you only see it once, and then you don't need to. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just know that.
Well, you technically see it twice, because you do see it at the end.
We see it come out at the end,
Yeah. When he's there's so much of him just, like, blasting music. I was like,
there's so many songs in this movie.
Right. I was like, this is like the most, like, this feels like a very well-produced record commercial. It just feels like some record store was like, how much money can we give you to promote all of the records that we're going to be selling in the next year?
Right.
So all the cool kids come to buy them from us. Like, it's truly like, I was like, I honestly feel like this, especially I think for like the time, I felt like it was like, it really is. I truly feel like this movie's like nothing I've seen out of the 80s. Like, it's really awesome.
But perfectly captures a lot about the 80s without.
And also, like, I was so
really
impressed. Like, so much of the time, I hate most of the music that's in stuff.
Yes.
Especially when it's like from the 80s and stuff, because I think it wasn't until like, I don't know. There was something about the 80s in particular where they would have like one or two songs that were like real songs or like well-known songs. And then they would have, if anything else was in there, it was either oldies or just horrible, just absolutely horrible. And all the music.
If it was contemporary, it was awful.
It was awful. And it felt like it was like made just for the movie, but like produced by people that didn't know what popular music sounded like, like trying to make popular music without knowing what it sounded like. That's what this movie was not like that at all. This movie was just like, it truly felt like you were playing the radio from the 80s.
Yeah,
like
and
it was so fascinating.
It didn't stay in one genre.
No, yes.
But that wasn't distracting.
Correct.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Like it starts with like some kind of speed glam metal kind of thing during the opening car chase, which
when he hits the guy in the wheelchair.
yes. And then later you get like when you see the strip club, it's
Yeah.
like kind of like some. Oh God, what would you? Like kind of electro. What do you call that genre? Like
I don't even know.
stuff like. Anyway, whatever.
Want to say a pink vinyl purse?
Yeah, exactly. And then it turns out Concrete Blonde has got like a bunch of songs on this, which I didn't recognize them. I've never been a huge fan, which makes me a bad Gen Xer, but like, you know, they're the only band that you've ever heard of probably on this soundtrack.
Were you listening to the soundtrack earlier?
I was listening to songs from this.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought that's what I was
Yeah.
hearing.
Concrete Blonde had that song Joey, which was a hit in the early 90s. I've heard it all before. It's not quite how it goes. Did they do that cover? You go on.
I'm unfamiliar with Concrete Blonde, so you're saying a lot of stuff that I'm like, yeah, and then what?
They are the vocalist has a fairly deep voice for being, quote, female.
Quote. In the trivia that I read on IMDb, I swear to God, someone needs to rein that shit in, or maybe not. Maybe
way.
just let it go crazy.
No way.
I don't know.
It's the lifeblood of this podcast.
It's what keeps. It's the reason we've kept it going all this time. So, at one part of the movie, it inhabits a stripper.
Yeah.
Who goes? They fall like Kyle MacLachlin and that dude from Flashdance follow her into a mannequin factory. Okay.
Yeah.
And it says Neptune's mannequins. But the trivia is acting like this is very shocking that it's like super coincidental that she keeps, while she's in this Neptune factory, keeps being around things that say Neptune. They're like, notably, she goes into the Neptune mannequin factory, and then she's underneath a door that says Neptune's, and then she falls through a neon sign that says Neptune's. Yeah, it says Neptune's mannequin factory because she's in the same fucking place the whole time. Right. Like, this is not trivia. Like, I mean, like, yeah, okay, she's in a place called Neptune's mannequin factory, and that's a pretty cool name. But, and honestly, that whole scene where she's in the mannequin factory is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And the whole scene in the factory is just amazing though. Like,
yeah,
it's pretty like the music and just like it's so over the top. Like, literally I was howling because there's just a scene where like the music is like dropping, or like, what do you call it? Like the intense music is coming when nothing is happening.
Yeah.
Or like they'll peek around the corner of a doorway and it's like, you know, and it's like nothing's going on. And it's going so fucking hard. It's so amazing. I fucking loved that. That was like my favorite scene in the movie. And I was like, I cannot wait to take screenshots of this fucking scene.
Which apparently the original script called for that scene to be in a shoe shop or.
Oh my God! Thank God they changed it.
Shoe apparently shop. The screenwriter got pissed off with all the changes that were made, which were not all that many, relatively. Yeah. Considering, but also according to the video I watched, they decided to make it a mannequin factory or whatever. And then found out that mannequins aren't super cheap to purchase. Oh, no. So they bought 3 and then made a bunch of casts of them. Oh, and cool. That's what they filled up the set with.
Oh my God, that's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I don't know why that was cheaper. I don't know what they were cast them with, but just
dirt. They got a bunch of mud together and just painted it. That's why no one touches the mannequins, because they just crumble.
Yeah, right. I also like the showdown in the prison is one of my favorite sequences.
Oh my god, it's so... This movie's good. This was a good
It
fucking
really
movie.
is.
Man.
You know what it reminded me of?
And the only...
I know,
oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I did not feel well last night. I had like a horrible headache. I was not feeling good.
you were in pain.
I was not feeling good. And honestly, I would have probably fallen asleep like at like 6 p.m., but we started watching this movie, and it was interesting enough that with a headache and not feeling well, and when I have a headache, I'm like, deuces.
Yeah.
I'm out. I don't deal well with them. I stayed awake and was very interested and am raving about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that is a testament to how good it actually is.
Yeah.
Like I was I was like, this headache, I'll deal with it after the movie. And I did. And I went to sleep, and I fell asleep probably like 9 p.m. or earlier.
Right.
But
I think
it was really good.
Counterintuitively, in a way, like, it doesn't go so hard on the visual effects.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, there's lots of explosions, or not a lot, relatively speaking, especially by today's standards. But like you don't see the alien bug more than twice,
right? Yeah.
And you don't see heads blow up all the time. You know, like
right? Yeah.
So it's fairly tame.
Yeah.
In that regard.
Yeah. There's a ton of gunshots.
Yes,
lots of squibs.
That's true. There's lots of squibs. Because every host has to get shot up like, a minimum of 14 times.
Yeah. At least a baker's dozen.
Yeah. So maybe now's a good time to talk about poor Claudia Christian's whole journey with this movie. Like
apparently, and this is like, what is that noise? Is your? Oh, okay. I thought your phone was like, I don't know. I thought your phone notifications. I'm like, do you have a fish sound? Whoop, whoop, whoop.
That's what fish sound like. On the phone. That's when they're using a phone. So I don't know if you got this from the trivia, because I think the trivia is rather short about it. But apparently, I guess the casting call apparently said the character needed to be busty because they're a stripper.
Personally, I'm just gonna say she had tits.
I know, and yeah, exactly. But apparently she padded her bra during auditions because
good going. Yeah.
Yeah. And then lied sort of. Her first second audition she had to do in a bikini?
No. Ugh.
Yeah. So she had to adjust her tactic about how to falsify her cup size. And then when she finally made it through and was working with wardrobe for what she was going to be wearing during her dancing scene, the wardrobe person or makeup artist or whomever, I forget who, helped her come up with prosthetics so it looked like in her tiny little top, it looked like her tits were bigger than they were.
Oh, wow.
And of course, eventually the production, producers, director found out, and they were upset because she lied, not because she was smaller than they thought.
Oh my God, come on.
But apparently that saved her from having to be topless.
I mean, yeah. It sucks. Okay.
And there's all these things when she walks out after the aliens.
I know. They did a lot of stuff to show her ass since she had little titties or whatever.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous.
Jesus Christ.
Nonsensical
to
because
make up for it.
Right. Because nonsensical because you need an excuse for men to be staring at a female body, right? Her tits aren't big enough. No one's going to believe that these men are ogling her.
Right.
As she's coming from a strip joint. What are you talking about? Have you met men?
Right. Also, yeah,
it's so dumb.
Yeah, it's very stupid.
And then one of the I think it's the sequence where Kyle MacLachlin is one of my favorite scenes of MacLachlan's in this is when they're on the rooftop of Neptune mannequins, and he's just shooting round after round, and then at one point he drops the clip and puts another one in.
Oh god, it's so fucking hot.
It's so hot because it's Kyle MacLachlin.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. God, I had such a fucking crush on Kyle
And he's
MacLachlin.
so stony.
Ugh. He is so fucking pretty to me. Ugh, I've thought he was hot since I was like a small child, begging my parents to rent Dune for the 1,000th time, while my siblings were like, "Not again."
But apparently, it was that scene when one of the squibs went off and shot a piece of her jacket into her eye.
Yeah, it's like gave her a corneal injury or something.
Yeah, I guess.
Like that?
Anyway, from then on, she was always
weird,
terrified to be around prop guns, and presumably on Babylon 5.
Yeah.
Even though they weren't guns, they were prop guns,
right.
and anything that made it look like they were being fired was done in post. Like they weren't cap guns even, because they weren't shooting bullets, right? I don't think.
I know, I've never seen Babylon 5.
I've seen it, but
not enough.
Not long enough to see her fire a fake gun. Anyway, so she was traumatized.
Yeah, no, I believe it. She did great in this, though. I love the scene where I thought this is what you were going to say.
Apparently, it was her idea when it says, "I'm not coming out yet."
Yeah, like that. I was going to say that was. I thought you were going to say that was your favorite scene.
I did like that scene
because her neck is like she's just doing all this weird shit with her neck.
Yeah,
that is. You could tell it was not prosthetics at all because if it was, it's the 80s. So if it was prosthetics, you'd be like, oof. But like, good lord, I mean, she's doing some work with her neck. I was like, damn.
And her voice. That's all her voice.
I know.
Until they do blend it eventually. I think.
Yeah,
but
I was like,
it was
hell yes.
Her idea to act as though it was in her throat when she was trying to talk.
You think it's over now? You're wrong. I'm not coming out yet. I'll kill you first.
That was good. That was fucking good.
It was.
And I was not expecting it. That's why it was good. And like, I mean,
it's also like her only line.
Well, yeah, pretty much. It was great. I will admit, I kind of like the scene because she like sleeps. She's like, because she's just like an alien, and so far the alien has like inhabited men.
Yeah. And
when it finally inhabits her, like I understand that there's some sort of like male gazy shit going on.
Yeah.
But also, I really do enjoy how she's just like feeling herself.
Yeah.
And just like, and then she ends up like sleeping with a guy.
Yeah.
And then killing him, which is fine, whatever. But like, I like that. That's not like, it's not like there's no joke made out of it. There's no.
Yeah,
it's really interesting to me because.
Yeah, it's not given a lot of space or attention.
And
it's not exploited to the extent of like, you can't see shit. It's
not you don't know exactly what's going on.
It's not an excuse to see titties or asses or
Yeah.
anything. Like, you don't see the bodies at all.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
They're just in the car.
I feel like there's a string on my shirt, and I'm just like.
It's a little confusing because why put it in there, but
yeah, a little bit. But I liked that it was done in the sense that like I was like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like
basically she just goes with him because he's like, oh, you like cars, baby?
Yeah, and she's like, I need a car. Yeah.
The only car that isn't a sports car.
In my personal opinion, the hottest car in the movie.
It's pretty.
It's like
Cadillac.
Yeah, it's a Cadillac. I've always wanted a Cadillac.
And
I'm
it's
going
like
to be honest.
Seafoam.
Oh, seafoam green. Favorite color. It's like maybe
Minty.
Mint to seafoam green, you know? Yeah. I've always wanted a Cadillac like that. Like, I've always dreamed it. Yes. Oh, my God. Yes. When I lived in, like, it was a thing. Like, the neighbors that I had in Florida that were drug dealers, also really nice people. They like bought Cadillacs and fixed them up.
Nice.
And they were always so bright, and oh god, I loved them so much, and I was like, I want one of those so bad.
You should have asked.
I mean, I was not old enough to drive, but yeah, like, I mean, there was one that was painted like almost like a candy apple red with like glitter paint. Oh god.
Damn.
And then there was one that was like bright purple, another one that was like yellow. I think there was a green one at one point. Like they would like either cycle them out or sell them or whatever,
Yeah.
but like they kept like most of the time they like kept them for like a while and then either sold them or like, you know. Oh, loved them. Oh. So like anytime I see like a Cadillac that's been like painted like I'm like, yes, I want that car. So it was just like, oh, fuck. I want that car. I don't care about like I'm so bored. Like if someone's like, "Ooh, look at this Ferrari," I'm like, I just don't care.
I'm a little bit of a sucker for the '80s Ferraris just because
Yeah, I mean,
of my
yeah.
age and
Yeah.
Magnum and fucking Miami Vice.
Right. I just don't. I think. I mean, well, what kind of car was Kit?
Trans Am.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for something that looks like Kit.
Yeah,
Like,
those are nice.
yeah.
Those '80s Trans Ams that are super sleek like that.
Yeah. But like, that's pretty much it. Like, I don't really like. Usually, if it's like, oh, this Porsche, I'm like, oh, I don't care.
Oh, also a bunch of these people were in a movie called The Red Light Sting.
Sting with a G.
Yeah.
Okay. Red light stink.
Which stars Bo Bridges and Farrah Fawcett, and it's like Bo Bridges is a federal agent, and they set up a fake brothel as a way to entrap some criminal.
Wild.
But like the guy who plays the Ferrari salesman, James Luisi, is in it.
Okay. Oh my god, yeah, that whole scene where he's oh my god, where
great.
he's just like snorting coke in the fucking
Yeah.
office.
What was that?
It's just a backfire.
Not one of yours, I hope.
No way, my friend. No way. But have some more. It's good stuff.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Yeah.
Feeling good now, huh?
Oh, yeah.
You'll cream your pants when you do 100 with this baby.
100? In the city?
In the city, where else? Anybody can do it on the freeway.
The Catherine Cannon, who plays Beck's wife, was also in that. And then
Oh god, I forgot all about. I forgot all about those scenes.
I know. Oh god, and I think there's one other person, but whatever. Also, the I think you only see her as a server, but she talks. That works at the strip club.
Oh
That's
yeah.
talking to the cops. She was dating the guy that plays the like bouncer at the Ferrari dealership. They were dating at the time.
Oh shit. I loved that scene though, and I thought like because after the guy inhabits the second body, or after the alien inhabits the second body, and he steals the tapes from the and the boombox from the record store, and then he goes to a cafe, and while he's there, he sees someone like test driving a like something some
Ferrari. It's another Ferrari.
Ferrari. And he runs after them, like literally takes off running after them. He gets to them, and it's like just a car dealership. And this guy's like, "Oh, I want the," he's like buying the Ferrari, and he's like, "Okay, I want this car." Like the alien guy's like, "I want this car," and they're like, "Sorry, it's just been sold." And he's like, "Okay, I want the car," and they're like, "Dude," and it's this whole thing, this whole back and forth where they're like, get out of the way, like you need to leave or whatever, and they get the bouncer and blah blah. So while the guy that was like test driving the Ferrari is in the office for the Ferrari salesman, he's just like snorting fucking coke out of like the back of a fucking fake Ferrari, like toy Ferrari, which is amazing.
Clearly, it's the dealer, the salesman's stash.
Right, correct. And he's, they're just like going, which I was like, oh my God, that's such a specifically like it's a detail that you would never see in a movie now, like that I feel like is possibly something that would happen in the 80s. Anyway. But when the guy comes in, like, the alien guy, like.
Remember how people are doing coke in the Christmas party in Die Hard?
Oh, God, I forgot about that. Coke was such a thing in the 80s.
Apparently.
Yeah. Anyway.
So we're told.
Like, I know I've told this to you. I'm just going to interject really quick. I've never done coke, and I never want to do coke because someone that I know, someone that I knew.
R.I.P.
No, she just blocked me on social media. That's all. She was like, "Have you ever done coke?" And I was like, "No." And she said, "Do you have anxiety?" And I said, "Yeah." And she's like, "Then never do coke." And I was like, "That is
Thank you.
the most honest drug PSA I've ever heard in my life." So anytime someone's like, "Oh, do you?" I'm like, "Absolutely not. No, thank you."
Yes, same. And
my mind races enough.
someone told me that ecstasy fucks with your serotonin.
Oh yeah.
So someone advised me, like, if you have depression issues, you probably don't want to fuck with that.
Right. Yeah. Like these are good
Thank
things.
you.
Right. These are good things to know. Like that's like really anyway. So the alien guy, you know, like shoots the bouncer because he's got a fucking gun. Whatever.
Oh, his favorite move is to grab somebody and put the gun right to their fucking chest or whatever.
God, terrifying.
Also, my other favorite thing is that more than once, the alien in different hosts just goes, bye. And then shoots somebody.
Yes. But that's what he busts into the fucking.
Oh, also, this is the thing I didn't think about until today. After, like, it's
Can I just finish the story? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It's okay. No, you're fine. So he busts into the guy's office and he just, he does the buy thing. But before he does that, he's like, "I want the car." And the guy's like, "Give him the keys." And he goes, he's like, "I just bought the car, man." Uh-huh. And he's like, "Give him the fucking key." He literally has a gun pulled on him. The bouncer or the whatever guy is like
whatever guy.
I can't think of the bodyguards. He's like more like a bodyguard than a bouncer. I feel like, he like roughs anyway. He's like been shot and he's like on the floor like bleeding out, and he's like, "I don't know, I just bought this car, I don't really want to give this guy my keys." And I'm like, that is like 100% accurate.
Right.
Like that's so accurate.
What the hell is Eddie doing out there, for God's sake? Eddie! Oh my God.
I need the keys.
Give him the keys.
Hey, man, I just signed the paper.
Give him the fucking keys.
Thank you. Bye.
I guess, I think it was only when he's in William Boyett. Miller! You keep seeing him have,
Yeah, because he said that, I don't know if you caught at the beginning.
he's like, let me say what it is. I know you know what I mean. But he's like, his stomach is constantly gurgling, or he's like,
yeah,
and all this shit.
Because the doctor at the beginning said that he had a bunch of gastrointestinal issues that were either stemmed from or caused a cardiac problem, and that's why he was in there for a bypass because he was having so many issues, which I thought was okay, but if he's still having all those stomach issues, and no matter what you do, I mean, what? It was kind of confusing. Yeah. Whatever though.
No, I agree.
I mean, who cares?
That was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And also, I think you were gonna, if you didn't say this already, when he first starts chasing after the Ferrari, starts running.
Yeah, and then he's just
and he's
oh.
And he has to kind of
yeah, that was something I really liked that too. Again, that's something where his the implication is that the alien inhabitant gives them super strength basically, or not super strength necessarily, but makes them a little stronger, a little tougher.
Yeah,
but it also does something that
it doesn't repair the body,
right? It doesn't if somebody dies, they're still dead. They're dead. And he has to there's only so much that the alien can do before the body's completely, Yeah. Also, at one point after she jumps through the sign, and then the lieutenant's dog comes and gets her, or the lieutenant's dog runs out and is right next to the body. Oh, and then you understand that the alien inhabited the dog. Uh-huh. And then later the dog jumps through a fucking window to karate kick the lieutenant in the head and like
and kills him.
kills him or whatever. Hits him into the fridge. The apple he's eating turns into 100 cherries on his chest. And then
And something on his crotch.
I didn't see that. And then the dog's just sitting there like, and you said that dog is a great actor.
It was. Jake as Roy the dog. Who's also in Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
Shit. That dog gave a performance.
It did.
I recommend the movie if for nothing else, just to see how well the dog performs.
Oh, so good. Because it's also the scene where it's staring in the mirror.
Oh my God.
And when it goes, because apparently that's the tail of the alien is it does this thing with its tongue.
Yeah, I just
goes,
basically licks its lips almost, like, or just like sticks its tongue out just a little bit. Oh my God.
Okay, so I feel like we gotta kind of.
I know, yeah.
There's so much. Watch this movie.
Yes,
It's
I highly
a lot of fun.
recommend it.
The great scene where Kyle MacLachlin comes over for dinner and gets drunk off of one beer.
Not even. I think he's like
half a
he's
beer
like,
or something.
Yeah, he's like had like 2 sips or whatever.
And he says he's from Ras Al
Ghul.
Ghul. Yeah. Ras Al Haig, which is the Arabic name for the star, which is called Alpha Opachudi or something like that. For Westerners, for some reason. Anyway.
I literally thought that Ras Al Ghul was actually what he said.
Ras Al Haig. And then I don't know if you caught this. I didn't know what he said, but like in the prison scene when the bad alien is like calling out for him and he says, Al Haig.
Oh.
He's saying where he's from. He's not saying, that's not his name.
Oh. Interesting.
It's a binary system. The actual Ras Al Haig.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And then
Danny Trejo's in this.
Yeah, for 1 second, he's got one line.
He just says, "Yo, hippie" or whatever.
Yeah.
So fucking.
Just that scene where
That whole scene. Oh, this is such a good movie.
I can't go into it because it's great. Just watch it. Original script did end with the cliffhanger.
Yes, yes, I saw that.
Eventually, the alien inhabits a senator. And as the senator says, I want to be president. In the same way that it says, I want this car.
Yeah.
And then apparently it did hang. I guess there was a different ending that was even shot. I saw they showed a like test printing where the alien comes out and it's larger than humans. For some, I don't know if that was in lieu of like.
That's wild.
Was that even when they were planning it on it?
Yeah.
The initial transfer scene? I don't know.
Yeah. Wild.
Fucking Kyle MacLachlin shows up with a flamethrower. A Chekhov flamethrower. Because for no reason. That was reshot, by the way. They went back.
I was wondering, yeah. Because it didn't. I was wondering because I was like, this almost doesn't fit with the rest of it.
Yeah.
Like it's so ridiculous and over the top. I mean, everything's ridiculous and over the top, but it was just like I was like, this doesn't seem like his character.
Yeah. Shot in 45 days, and then they did 5 days of pickup shots.
Wow.
Budget of $5 million, which was the largest budget for any New Line film.
Oh wow.
They were really banking on it.
Did
Nightmare
it flop?
2 had a budget of $3 million.
Oh wow.
It didn't exactly flop, but it did not make its money back opening weekend. But yeah, like what?
Fucking watch this movie, man. Watch it.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh, also, I really like the subtlety of the alien weapon.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
They don't make a big deal about it. It's just
They don't explain it.
It's a solid. Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much about this movie. It's so dumb.
I think this why it holds up is its subtleties. I mean, it's a crazy over the top movie, right?
Oh, absolutely,
but like it doesn't go hard on. It doesn't dump a lot of production into shit like the alien weapon or the alien visual effects or
and like it doesn't like give a lot of like it doesn't go hard on motivations.
Right.
Like it's like the alien,
and it's okay.
the bad guy,
for whatever reason, you don't need it because
right? The bad guy alien. It's basically like it's not like, oh, I'm from a race of the bad alien. Again, it doesn't do the xenophobic
he's
thing.
just
It's
a
just
shitty guy.
basically it's a shitty person doing shitty things,
Yeah.
and it happens to be an alien that's doing it through inhabiting humans,
Yeah.
and that's pretty
and
much
Kyle
it.
MacLachlan is just trying to get him because he killed his wife and
Right.
killed his family.
Yeah.
And he keeps killing, and Kyle MacLachlan is like, maybe this guy should not keep killing.
Yeah.
Not keep burning through bodies.
Right.
Altarians and Terrans.
An interesting thing, though, I saw in like the trivia is like that there were like the subtleties between, or like the differences between like the Kyle MacLachlan alien and the other alien. Like Kyle MacLachlan has had the same host for like 9 years or something. He said, or something. I don't know, for like a long time. I don't know how many years.
Your time.
He says,
Which was improvised, by the way.
Oh wow.
MacLachlan improvised that time. Improvised that time.
Never time before. So yeah, he said like 9 years, and the other guy, like he's blowing through hosts like every few days.
Well,
but it's it said like the implication being that the bad alien like uses up the resources of who he's in.
Right.
Where Kyle MacLachlan uses his like does the opposite. Like he recharges the person, like whatever host he's inside.
Yeah, it also seems like it's unclear because
I mean, it doesn't explain. This is what someone said that they've got from watching it. Like this was the This was what it seemed like was happening.
Yeah, and again, this may not be on purpose, but it also seems because of, spoilers, of course. At the end, it seems like MacLachlan transfers himself into Beck.
Yes. And he does it differently.
Yeah. It's like, looks like light versus a bug. And all we get for his backstory is that, what's his name? Lloyd Gallagher, I think is the character's name that MacLachlan plays, was killed.
Yeah.
Or presumed dead.
Yeah.
In a forest fire or something?
Yeah.
So it could be that alien actually takes over the body after it's technically deceased.
Well, no, because that was the person that wasn't him. His like partner Stone or whatever. Wait, I was confused about that because I thought it was saying that Gallagher got burned in a fire, but he'd taken on his friend Stone had taken on his identity.
Oh.
So like Stone, like Kyle MacLachlan was inhabiting Stone's body and pretending to be his partner Gallagher. That's what it sounded like. So that was the only part I was like, what's that? Why do we, what? Like that was.
Anyway, let's see if I got any more fun trivia. Oh, the guy who played the senator was also in the Red Light Sting. That's who the third one was.
Huh.
I think I got all of it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The screenwriter was unhappy with the changes they made enough that it's not his real name in the credits.
Oh, wow.
It's credited to Bob Hunt, but the guy's real name is Jim
Skunt.
Koof.
Skunt. That's a
good one. Tom again.
Yeah, it's all I really have to say is watch this movie.
Yeah, watch
this movie.
Again, it's not really spooky at all.
No, it's not really spooky, and it's not necessarily like.
It's got some, very obvious makeup gore.
I guessed it. Like I really guessed the Kyle MacLachlan thing like immediately.
You
like
did,
I was like,
but that did not.
It did. Yeah, it didn't matter
from it at all. If they had tried to keep it more of a twist, it doesn't matter. Like it
exactly right.
Like the plot stays the same. He's just after this guy,
right? Yeah.
And it's no different that he's an Alhagian than it is
Right.
he's
Ra's
Agent,
al Ghul.
Agent Cooper. You know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah. Right.
And they don't give it any weight other than
Right.
like,
And it doesn't seem like it's a thing where it's like two wars against two. Like, there's really no.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Man, this is some good shit.
yeah, I don't know how to explain the fact that it's compelling despite the thing it lacks.
Yeah.
Or because of the things it lack. Like, it doesn't go too hard on backstory for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You get enough character development that you care enough.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about Beck's family, but the fact that he has one
Right.
does give you some...
Right. Something.
Yeah, it adds, motivation and character. I don't know. And, like, I mean, they do it's basically there so you see some parallels between Alhaig and...
Right.
and Beck. But, they're just two cops with worried about their families, or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's enough. Like, they don't go super hard on it.
Yeah.
They don't milk it. I don't
Yeah.
feel like the dinner scene is great because, but again, not over the top with him being drunk.
I like that he's just like not. She's like, "Where are you from?" He's like, "What?" She's
All
like,
right.
"From." He's like, "What?" She's like, "Where did you grow up?" And he's like, "Oh."
Yeah.
Like, from what? Yeah, no, that was good shit. It was good shit. Highly recommend. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Do it.
Do it. Come again. I'm not coming out now. Yet.
I love my job.